accidental. They were getting reports and looking at the polling numbers.
Well, before you go too far, we got to get everybody up to speed. What happened in Iowa?
Sorry.
Yeah. You gotta make sure. See, I like to over-explain things because I'm used to talking to people like as a coach.
Right. So if you don't know what happened in Iowa,
yeah. So what happened was it's a caucus, and so you have to convince delegates to vote for you in a caucus. And so as the people were about to go vote, there were Cruz people that were going to vote for Cruz. I'm sorry, Carson. There were Carson people that were going to vote for Carson. And right before they were going to make their vote, somebody sent out some information, and it was reported on CNN, and there was some back and forth.
Sent out emails to all the different delegates throughout the Cruz campaign that Carson has quit. He flew back to Florida.
And he's done. He's quitting.
He did fly back to Florida, though, so there was fact there. But he flew back to Florida to get a change of clothes.
Something like that.
He said he flew to Florida, had to do some family stuff, and then he'd be back on the campaign trail.
Right. So what they told everybody was, everybody in the Cruz campaign, Carson's quitting. Tell all the people that are voting for Carson to not waste their vote,
right,
but instead vote for Cruz, who's obviously their second choice, is what they're thinking.
Right.
So don't waste it on Carson. He's out.
And waste
it on us. Waste it on us.
And there was a campaign letterhead that showed that this was factual.
Okay.
This was an actual letter that went out. So this guy, they call him John. John is a part of this campaign at a level to where they were looking at the polls 2 weeks prior to Iowa, and they saw that Cruz wasn't going to be president. He just couldn't have that. He just didn't have the numbers for it. He was eventually going to drop out.
Cruz or Carson?
Sorry, Cruz campaign saw that Carson didn't have the numbers to be president. He'll eventually drop out. But you know what? If we can get those numbers, we'll beat Trump. Out of the gate, Iowa, first game, we win, and then carry the momentum. So that the inside campaign Cruz saw this and went and came up with this strategy, and you read the whole article. They came up with this strategy that they were going to do this, and ironically, Carson leaving Iowa that night coincidentally lended incredible credibility to what they were doing. So John's job was to man all the people at the phones and to instruct them on what to say and how to say it, so that this would be pulled off. This happened. A couple other things happened. He said he couldn't do it no more. In this campaign, the culture of this campaign that he saw was pushed like a Jim Jones ordeal, to where it's Christian, it's he's the anointed one. His father has even said he's the anointed one. He's the one to do it. Glenn Beck says that he's the anointed one. We're anointing Ted Cruz.
Remember what the Cruz campaign did to Rubio, too, when he tried to claim that he said that you won't find any answers in the Bible.
Right. That was clear trickery. And that was Ted Cruz's dad that was at the table while Rubio said that.
Right. The fact that and you know what? Cruz did fire that guy, but it was so monumentally stupid because, hold on, how could you even think? This is the cult mentality.
This is the cult mentality. Obama doesn't tell Valerie Jarrett to allow Hillary to get away with it. You'll never see the paperwork for that. Valerie Jarrett is in place to do it because she knows what the game plan is.
So you're saying that this guy knows what the game plan is?
Yes! Or not that he knows what the game plan is, but he knows that he'll score points with his boss if he can get this done.
But he did end up getting fired.
True.
That's because it was so stupid. It's totally inexcusable.
Yeah.
How do you say that that's what he said when the reaction doesn't really match that? Everybody else, how do you not fact check that?
Yeah, it was
very dumb.
Yeah, it was really stupid. So John is saying that the cult culture, the inside culture, is because Cruz is the anointed one. He's the conservative, the true conservative, and at all cost, by hook or by crook, It doesn't matter. We've got to win the election to save America.
Right. And I've noticed that. I've noticed that with Cruz supporters. I'm really sorry if you are offended by me calling out or questioning your moral character.
Not all supporters.
Right. But the ones that are really blasting me on Twitter, one in particular, I mean, I got to really call into question. She tweeted a message directly to me about Trump's new stance on abortion. And when I looked up what the facts were, I'm like, you're not even trying to be honest now. and my point is that the whole the ends justifies the means, that's a Democrat thing.
Right. Republicans don't do that. We don't need to do that. And Rush talks about this all the time. This is what.
How can you?
And I'm not taking Rush to the. I'm not going to take Rush to the woodshed yet. But
Rush is retracted big time on talking about what's going on between the two camps because he's getting fired on.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Rush, though. He has always said and always espoused that we are right as conservatives with our conservative Christian Judeo values and our nuclear core family thing. We are correct and right, and at the end of the day, being right will always win.
Yeah, righteousness always wins out
in a moral world. In a moral world. However, we've got these people that are saying, "Well, we've been fighting the good fight, and it just doesn't feel like we're winning." So
I see where you're going with this.
So
we got to do something.
We got to do something.
Let's employ some Democrat strategies of.
I mean, all
justifies means.
All's fair in love and war
and politics.
Right now, the third leg of that is now politics.
Right,
which is
it's unfortunate because you can't sit there and say, in my mind, you can defend the Constitution wholeheartedly and stay in a righteous position while doing it. You don't have to say, hey, look, listen, we got to save the Constitution, so we're going to be dishonest and immoral in order to achieve that goal.
Right.
I mean, if you got to be able to do it honestly, because if not, you've misled people into supporting your candidate.
Right. And so there's a guy on Twitter that his picture is a picture of him and Ted Cruz locking arms or whatever. And this creeps me out, and it weirds me out because he's a grown man, Vietnam era veteran, grown man. And he tweets out, "Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Amen. God bless. Good night, most excellent people. It's time to lay my head down to sleep. See you all in the morn with my liquid horsepower coffee. God bless." I'm sorry, but I find that creepy.
What's like you're
weird.
You're wearing, and you're a religious person.
Yes, and I mean, I go to church every Sunday. I try and be that good guy. I mean, we all battle with good and bad all the time. I try to be the best father I can be to my kids so that they don't have the moral struggles that I had, that they got a better start and a better end. But this is something you would say to your granddaughter, not to Twitter.
Interesting. I was kind of thinking the same thing. It's like, well, I mean, that's cool and everything, but why does it need to be a tweet?
Well, yeah.
Say your prayer to yourself, to your God, before you go to bed. The whole thing, tweeting it though, yeah.
Most excellent people. What is that? Is that Star Wars talk?
No. That's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, Lord. So now we're wrapped up in Bill and Ted.
Remember George Carlin? George Carlin was...
God rest his soul.
Yeah, he was in there, and so they would talk with...
Excellent.
Yeah, my most excellent people. Yeah, that's how they talked in the future. Remember?
Take them to the Iron Maiden. Excellent, dude.
Execute them.
Bogus. Right.
Yeah, so anyway.
So, okay, so I think I've kind of beat that up. Like I said, go to Sick Bias, read the whole article. It's quite amazing. It's quite shocking. No, I wouldn't say shocking. If you're a Cruz supporter, you might be a little shocked, and you might want to dismiss all this and say, blah, blah, humbug. Well, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of things that are not adding up with Cruz and the stuff surrounding him, i.e., Ashley Madison.
Yeah, do they not care about these moral issues? One thing they'll say is they won't ever admit, well, yeah, we believe that Cruz cheated on his wife. They'll never say that. Instead, they immediately respond with, well, we know that Trump has because he admitted it in his book.
Okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem. The situation is Trump may have written about past adulterous issues in a book in a past life, and then he says, not past life, in his early years.
Which life are you talking
his
about?
Early years.
When he was a pauper.
back during the 17th century. No, so he's had, his whole life has been exposed. His whole life has all been out there in the limelight, as would be a politician. So him not holding anything back and all of us being understanding, well, that's an average guy. He's a baby boomer. During the 80s, divorce was high. 70s, 80s, divorce was high. Do what feels good. Move on. Okay. Whatever. I get it. I understand it. He's in a great relationship with his wife now. Loves her to death. And his ex-wife says we're still good friends. He's a great dad. Okay. Juxtapose with Ted Cruz. It has technically become a scandal. Scandalicious, if you will, by the National Enquirer breaking out with this article that Ted Cruz, 5 women have been identified as cheating with Ted Cruz.
One of them has said it, and one me.
Right. The original people who unearthed this information from 2 private detectives was the Rubio campaign. Rubio campaign initially put all this together to get Ted Cruz. Okay, once they realized Rubio's done, it wasn't going to work, Rubio's like, it don't matter anyhow. So they took this story and they went to Breitbart and they tried to sell it to Breitbart. Breitbart went all through it and they're like, I don't know, it's kind of loose. I don't know. And apparently Breitbart passed on it. Well, and there's only one other person to go to. Either Daily Mail or the National Enquirer.
The Daily Mail they're not respectful? No.
Well, they've been cracking on the Daily Mail lately.
Oh.
Cruz went off on the Daily Mail. And I'm going to get, okay.
It wasn't even Cruz. It was Carly Fiorina. Anyway, go ahead.
His mom had to stick up for him.
Oh, no, you didn't. Wow. Oh, man.
I could have said his grandma, but then that wouldn't have been feasible. It looks like his mom.
Oh,
anyway,
so
they went to the National Enquirer with this story. National Enquirer, the owner of the Enquirer is friends with Trump. They published it. They ran with it. And one of the women slightly identified could be a lookalike, could be Katrina Pearson, who is Trump's spokesperson, national spokesperson. So it wouldn't have been Trump to do this for. This wouldn't have been a Trump. But you're.
Well, okay. Rush says, why would you
throw your own spokesperson under the bus?
Well, you wouldn't even want to go down that road because of your spokesperson.
Correct. So Katrina took to Twitter and said, I can speak for I speak to myself. It wasn't me. And so Twitter blew up on her. Oh yeah, you speak to yourself, huh? Just like your boss speaks to himself.
A little bit of subject-verb disagreement.
Yes, they blew her up on that. But anyway, she said it wasn't me. However, I can't speak for anybody else. Backstory on Katrina: back in the day when Cruz was running for the Senate, she was his national spokesperson.
So they could have been in the same place at the same time.
And some people in the Cruz campaign are alleging that Katrina came on to Cruz back in the day.
Oh, so it's not his fault.
Alleging. She attacked him.
She attacked him.
So there's videotape of Cruz with a woman entering a hotel, coming out of a hotel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
entering into a restaurant, coming out of a restaurant.
I didn't know this. There's video of this?
Yes.